Hi everyone. Welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley, and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're diving back into our series dedicated to small plates, side dishes, and condiments with a dive into what was at one point one of the single most difficult to find hot sauces on the planet, which is the Huy Fong Sambal Oelek chili paste. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Wesley, what makes this hot sauce more rare than a shiny Pokemon? Well, I'll explain. Last year, the world experienced what's now being referred to as the Great Siracha Shortage of 2023, wherein at various points in time, I personally saw bottles of Sriracha selling off of the shelves in Oakland Chinatown for over $100. No, I am not exaggerating, y'all. Different sources claim different reasonings as to why this happened. Some say that it was weather-related, others say that it was due to a strained relationship with suppliers. But all this to say, in 2023, it became very, very difficult to find a bottle of Sriracha due to Huy Fong's inability to adequately source the hot sauce's main ingredient, which is, and now this is critical, the red jalapeno. Now, I know all of you all are thinking, Wesley, what does this have to do with Sambal Oelek? Well, the main ingredient, or really the only ingredient in Sambal Oelek, is also the red jalapeno. More specifically, the red jalapeno grown by Underwood Farms, or in other words, the same chili that is used to make sriracha sauce. This, of course, means that at various points in time in 2023, I was personally spending $20 to $30 for a 6-ounce jar of Sambal Oelek to make the Woo Can Cook fried rices. So, sometime last year, I set out to replicate my own version of the Huy Fong chili sauce, and now today, over a year later, I have a bottle of it to share with you. So, let's get into it. Okay, so kicking things off here first, there really is only one ingredient in Sambal Oelek, and it is the red jalapeno, a single pound's worth here. This by far is going to be the biggest challenge to find since, as you probably know, most jalapenos are harvested when they're green. So if you happen to find a very large supply of red jalapenos and want to make some Sambal Oelek, I'd recommend immediately buying all of them. These come from Chong Farms at the West Oakland Farmers Market for those who are looking. Now, a couple of quick notes, both the Fresno pepper and the lunchbox sweet pepper look very similar, if not visually identical at a quick glance, so you'll want to be absolutely certain that you're holding red jalapenos before you start here. I personally did this with a pound of lunchbox peppers first and was absolutely confounded as to why my hot sauce tasted like salsa. By the same token, if you've ever wondered why other copycat versions of Sambal Oelek are way spicier than the Huy Fong version, it's likely because they're using Fresno peppers, which, though similar, are also much spicier. We specifically need red jalapenos today, y'all. There's no substitute. I personally am going to de-seed about a quarter pound's worth of my jalapenos here to dial back some of the heat on my Sambal Oelek, but adjust for yourselves accordingly though. Next up, I'm tossing all of this into a food processor with what ended up being a quarter cup or 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, followed by a full cup of distilled white vinegar and a half cup of rice vinegar. Then next, I'm pulsing this all in the food processor until a paste forms, and now if you want, you could optionally just stop right here. Simply jar this up and serve as needed. It really just comes down to preference, but texturally, in order to achieve the paste-like consistency of the Huy Fong Sambal Oelek, I'm bringing this to a simmer over on the stove, then thickening up with a cornstarch slurry comprised of 2 tablespoons of cornstarch dissolved in water. This is going to achieve a couple of things today. The first is that it's obviously going to thicken up in consistency, not unlike a stir fry. In addition though, the heat will also activate and cook off a little bit of the brightness from our vinegars, which is personally my preference with anything containing distilled white vinegar, which is very abrasive on its own. Back over on the cutting board. Now, full disclosure, this was the 4th time that I attempted this recipe, so I was still doing a good bit of comparing to the real stuff seen here. As promised, here's the remaining rice vinegar and brown sugar going in. Then I also included a teaspoon of MSG and a pinch of kosher salt to taste before finishing this off, and we're ready to eat. Okay, so for those watching in 2024 with me right now, you'll notice that I did in fact make this sambal oelek over a year ago before making this video, and that's because at the time I was fairly confident that this would taste wildly different after aging in the vinegar mixture for a little while. Is it necessary to age this for a full year? Well, probably not, but on comparison, here's what I noticed happened over the last year. Essentially, everything that we've added to this sauce has become more amplified. The malted sweetness in our brown sugar is deeper and more rich, the umami from our MSG is much more pervasive, and the brightness from our vinegars is more distinct without being overbearingly acidic. In short, you could think of it something like what happens when you slow cook a bolognese. Can you eat the sauce after 30 minutes of braising? Well, yes, but that 4-hour simmer is going to help a lot more for your depth of flavor and complexity. Now, circling back to our original mission of recreating the Huy Fong Sambal Oelek, to be absolutely honest, I think we're in the ballpark, but I can still definitely tell you which one is which though. That said, I've retried this recipe 4 times now and I'm about ready to give up, so here we are. What I will say is that I do think that our version is a lot less salty than the Huy Fong version, also with quite a bit of the heat pulled back as well. I think the inclusion of rice vinegar and brown sugar instead of just distilled white vinegar and white sugar is also adding a nice complex sweetness that I'm missing in the Huy Fong version for myself. So all this to say, I think short of actually sourcing the Underwood Farms red jalapenos for ourselves, this might be as close as you'll get to recreating the Huy Fong classic. Okay, so that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you give this one a shot. For those who are new to the channel, this one is part of a new series that we've been doing that's dedicated to small plates, side dishes, and accompaniments. So definitely check out that series next if you haven't yet, because there's going to be a lot of these. For the Bay Area locals, the Woo Can Cook fried rice pop-up is now at the West Oakland Farmers Market every Sunday, so come by and say hi then if you can. More about that at woocancook.com/eats. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, be nice interneters, and I'll see you soon.